All right, we're back. We are COMP1006, Intro to Web Programming in the Winter 2017 semester here at Georgian. Woo! And it's week 11, part 2 of our broadcast. We're talking about PHP MVC structure. We just finished talking about assignment 2, right? Details for assignment 2. So you should have everything you need for next week and the week after in terms of what I'm looking for. All right, I'm going to close some of this stuff off for a second so we can start afresh. And what I'm also going to do while I'm waiting, is there any questions that you guys have in general? I'm going to pull up my Windows machine here for a second. And while this is launching, I'm going to entertain any kind of questions. Any questions, any confusion around how to do certain things? I know that last week, not many people watched the video. I spent like 2 hours recording, and then I think I had 6 views, which is pretty sad, right? Means none of you watched it, that's for sure, because I did my analysis, right? I look at the videos, right? I actually look at them and go, okay, so how many people watched it, right? So you guys must be perfect. You guys know everything about PHP, right? No? You didn't come to P230. Do you have something else after this? No. So which means you just went home, right? Which is pretty crazy. Because all this is going to be in the exam, and I can't save you on the exam. I can save you on assignment 1, I can save you on assignment 2, but the exam is your own, right? There's only so much I can do. The exam will be an exam we'll have to carry forward into the other room. Like, it's not going to be just here. We're going to march to the other room. We're going to continue that one. It will be a 3-hour exam. This is going to cover more stuff. I'm sorry. Now, for people who are limited, who have a problem, right? No, we'll figure something out. We'll figure something out. Okay? As we come closer to the exam time, I'll bust my brains. I'll try and make it 2 hours, right? That's what I'm going to try and do, right?
I only get 2 hours.
A what?
We only get 3 hours. We only get 2 hours.
He only gets 2 hours, and we all get 3. Yeah, that's also a good one. And I'll give it other people who are challenged 4, right? Just because, like, we did that before, right? Let's take a look at last week's code here. So what I want to do is we looked at COMP1006. By the way, I know some of you are having issues downloading my code. I know I talked to one student this week. And the reason why this is happening is because some people are using the built-in PHP Storm server. And when you download my code with PHP Storm server, it'll give you some really weird effects. Please don't do that. Please use Wamp, right? Like direct. So if you look on my Wamp right now, is it running? No, right? A Wamp's not running. So I got to start with Wamp, right? If I don't launch Wamp, right, the Wamp server, right, then what's going to probably happen is I'm going to get a weird effect through PHP Storm. It won't work right? So please make sure you run Wamp testing locally, right? And it's taking a sweet time to go green, but it finally went green. Yay. That would be bad if it didn't. All right, so here's our COMP1006. We talked about lesson 10 last week. We're just going to copy and paste, just like we've done many times before. This is nothing new for you. One day. 991 items, right? I'm also going to show you WordPress for those people who were not here last week. I'll show you what it looks like. I'm not going to talk too much more about it, but we'll do this. Inside here, inside lesson 11, I'm going to kill the .git folder, that's for sure, because I want to put it up online with all the changes we made. But you can see that the folder structure is almost what I've asked for the assignment, right? Almost perfect. Not quite. I'm also going to kill idea just because I want to start fresh. You don't have to, I found out, but I'm doing it. Okay, and then of course what I want to do is I want to pull this into PHP Storm. So I'm going to double click here, and I'm going to download. I'm going to open up our lesson 11 in PHP Storm, and then hopefully when we're done, you'll see that our site's going to be set up nicely. So I'm going to go over the folder structure first, MVC, and talk about how everything links together, right? Because people who missed the second part, we didn't go to the other room. I feel like we're going to a black hole when we go there. No one shows up. I think there's like 4 people maybe, if I'm lucky, right? Highly recommend that you come with me if you can to the other room, because I'm going to keep talking about stuff that might help you with your assignments and your final exam, right? All right, we don't want this one. This is lesson 10. What we do want though is, come on, PHP Storm. I should say, come on, computer. Close project. What I do want is to create a project from existing files, which I'm going to point to the bottom one here, source files that are in a local directory where the web server is not yet configured. Notice I cannot click this stuff no matter what I do, so I got to change my resolution, which we do every single time. Display settings to much bigger display set. Let's go, I don't know, 1920 by 1080. Sure. Something crazy. Okay, cool. And we'll leave that, keep changes, go next. And I'll choose where in the project root it's going to be. It's going to be C:users Tom desktop. And under desktop, it's going to be under COMP1006 under lesson 11. And then in here, I'm going to click project root and finish. Okay, it's going to do its little dance. It's going to get everything. Now, inside my project root, I haven't done a GitHub repository, so I'm going to kind of do that now. I'm going to go in here into my terminal window, local terminal, and I'll do a git init, git add dot, and git commit -m. Will installs all those files. Initial commit. I'll just keep typing. Please try and do this with me. It's good practice. But I know some of you will not want to. So I'm going to set up a new repository. And guys, I'm not trying to be facetious. I really mean it. I think the best thing for you guys, the best way to learn PHP, which is an unstructured language, is to do it. Right? It's not easy. It can be made easier. There are some things that make PHP easier, which we're going to talk about. But there's some things that do not make PHP easier. Let's talk about as well. Right? All right, so here we're going to make a new repo, COMP1006, W2017, and it's lesson 11. And from here, if we found out that we can copy paste, so copy. And if I go here physically, apparently you can paste, apparently. And then that'll do this. I may have to log in. Who knows? Maybe not. Wonderful. There we go. Once we have this part in place, we know we've got our Git repository set up remotely and locally. And we have our project structure. Let's go over the project structure one more time. Okay, so remember that everything starts in this particular case from our index.php file. So here's our index.php file. Last time, what we did was we set up our index.php file to switch between different pages. So in this particular case, we check to see if my page ID is set first, right? The way this works is we're using the super global variable to see if that's even alive, right? And when we first get to our index.php, it's not alive, right? It doesn't have any page ID yet. The only time that it has a page ID is when we set it, okay? By default, if it doesn't exist, we set the title of the page to home, right? And then what we do is we use our template string. We set our template string to views dashboard.php. This is, in this case, our home page, the dashboard. Now, for assignment 2, your dashboard will be unavailable unless you're logged in, right? So this is where we have to make some physical changes today, again, right? Because our dashboard is the page that we're coming from, and I want my dashboard to be secure. I don't want you guys to be able to see my dashboard unless I'm logged in. So I want you to help me do that today, right? Because you've got enough information now to do this. All right, here's the other thing. Under views, I have several folders. Partials is one of the folders that I have. I have a footer, right? This part. It's just the bottom part of my folders, right? My header, which is just the top part, right? And then I have my nav bar. My nav bar is a Bootstrap nav bar. And notice that I have one static link on it right now, one static link here, which is which is my link right here. Oh, sorry, this one here on line 22, you can see that there's a link. And this link here is the link from my index.php page. That's the static link that I have. I'm using ternary operator. Thank you, Dasha. I like the way you said it in Russian, right? Ternary operator to inject the title. Depending on if my title is home, then I'm going to set my class to active. Otherwise, it's not going to be set to anything. That's what I'm doing here on this line, right? I'm using PHP to determine that. And then what I'm doing is I'm creating that home link. So I'm using Font Awesome to kind of inject a little home icon next to the home link. That's what I'm doing here. Okay. That's what's happening on line 22 for the most part. Okay, starting on line 24, I do a series of if statements. If is set session, I check to see if my session is alive, my session variable is alive, and that I'm logged in. If my logged in is equal to true, if that's true, I'm going to show my log out link. If I'm logged in, then I can log out, right? Otherwise, if my session is not set, right, or if I'm not logged in, right, then I want to set up my login link. So either I'm going to show my login or my logout. Peoples, this is all I need you to do for your assignment number 2 for logging in and logging out. It's already done for you, right? You just need to incorporate this into your navbar, okay? Your navbar is going to look a little different. Why? Because somewhere in here, inside this UL, right, inside this area, you need to do a for loop, and you need to check to see how many pages exist in your pages, inside of your pages table in the database. Do we have a pages table in the database right now? No. You need to create a pages table in the database. And you have to check to see how many records are in the database. If there's more than one record, right, or equal 1 or more, then for every row that's in the table, you want to add another link. That's what you're doing. Yes?
That's only if you're logged in, right?
That's only if you're, no, that's after. You don't have to be logged in to get those links. Those links are like pages dynamically created by the admin, right? So any user can be able to get those. The only time you can't see links, like for example, I might have another link in here where you only can see when you're logged in. For example, the dashboard. I only want to see the dashboard when I'm logged in. I'm going to show you that today, right? How do I see the dashboard page? Only when I'm logged in. The rest of the time I see some kind of index page with some kind of banner ad or something like that, right? Okay, so that's what this does. This very simple navbar, it does that. I'm just using PHP to use if statements to determine whether I'm logged in or not. And if I'm not, then I show one link or the other, right? Okay, that's what this part does. Stop me if you're not sure what I mean, please, just like you just did. That's the perfect thing to do, right? All right, so that's what this does. Header, footer, and navbar, all right? That's where my partials live. I also have views related to my games table, right? I have views related to my errors. I have an error link 404, right? And in my 404 link, I just say, oops, page not found, right? That's all this thing does. These are content pages now. So these are the partial pages here, and these are the content pages, error, games, and then general content for the top level links. I've got my about page and my contact page. Notice the contact page is blank. What would you need to do? Fill it in. Put a table in there. They ask you for your email and your telephone number and a send link that sends your contact page to the user, right? To say, hey, I'm trying to contact you for information or whatever. That's what the contact page is going to have, which is missing here. Do you know how to make a contact page, like a form on a contact page? By now you should, right? You make a form, and inside the form you have a couple of things. And for example, if you want to know how to do it on your own, or if you forgot, let's say you're out of practice making, using HTML, that's okay. Go to Bootstrap. If you go to getbootstrap.com, underneath Bootstrap you can look at CSS. Under CSS you're going to have forms, and there is a forms example right here. You can grab this and slap it in, and away you go, right? I mean, there is code that's out there to help you create a form, right? You just have to determine what kind of information you want the user to send you, right? For example, you may not need to put in this check me out checkbox. That may not be required. So you take that out, leave it out. But the rest of this form looks okay. And it's going to look like this, right? So it's not a bad start. Definitely no file input. You don't need that, right? But email and password and maybe some kind of text area for a message, that would be good. That would be the 3 things you need for a contact form. I'm telling you where to get it, right? For assignment 2, worst case scenario, if you don't know how to do it on your own, right? So that's what goes in here. So I've got some static pages. These are the static pages. All of these actually are static pages that I've created. They're not being created by the database. Dynamic pages are pages that I want the user to create. And for you, if you've never seen a CMS before, let's explore one. WordPress, and I installed it last week. How do I get there? Well, first of all, let's go away and come back. Make it a little bigger. If you notice, inside of my page, I have a WordPress installation. Here's my WordPress installation, right? My WordPress installation is just PHP. That's what I've done here. And I've got my WP admin folder, my WP content folder. Inside the WP content folder, very high level understanding of WordPress. This is where all the themes go in and plugins. Themes, you may have several themes. You can see that there's 2015, 2017, 2016. These are all the different themes to color your application. We're going to switch between them today just to give you a little sample, right? And then you also have some plugins. These are some general plugins. I have a Kismet and a Hello World plugin. That's all I have, right? Not much going on in plugins. We can write our own plugins if we wanted to. Not a problem, right? But in the general sense of the word, WordPress is just a bunch of PHP pages, right? If you notice, that are configured to allow me to create dynamic content. Notice that inside of my pages, I don't have extra pages here, right? I have a large application. And if I was actually to look at this thing, if I was to right click as an example and use properties, just to see the size of my installation. Right now it sits at about 27 megs with 1,500 files. I just downloaded it. I didn't add a darn thing. And it's got 1,500 files. Why? It uses Bootstrap. It uses the latest version of PHP and the latest version of WordPress, which is literally 1,500 files, right? So when you set up a WordPress site, it takes you 5 minutes to set it up. Literally, it took us 5 minutes, right? But you install 1,500 files. So imagine, you have to do one page for a user, and you set it up with WordPress. Overkill is the answer, right? How do I access WordPress? Well, I just go to the site, right? Whatever the site is. So in this particular case, I'm going to go to localhost for a second. Now, if you're running with Wamp, if you scroll down, you can see that I've got WordPress installed here. But what I really want to do is inside my COMP1006, I have WordPress. And what does it look like? Hopefully I did it right, and it's still working. I didn't kill it, right? It looks like this. That's what was installed in 5 minutes. 5 minutes, right? It's fully responsive, right? Fully responsive. I have a dashboard. It detects that I'm logged in. I can go into my dashboard right here. This is my dashboard. Now, do I want you to make this dashboard inside of your CMS for assignment 2? Hell no, right? 1,500 pages. I don't need you to do 1,500 pages for assignment 2. Please don't, right? You don't have that kind of time anyway, right? And you're probably not skilled enough, and most people aren't, to create a page or a set of pages like this in 2 weeks. I don't know anybody who can do that, right? Oh, sorry, I take that back. I only know a few people that can do that. But those people are few and far between. Okay, so what do we have here? We have a dashboard. This is what a dashboard would look like, right? Could I include this little icon to make my dashboard look like a dashboard? Sure I can. Can I make it black? Yes, I can. Put it on the side? Sure, I can do all that stuff with my dashboard, right? But what I want to do is click on here where it says new page. Take a look at this. What the same kind of functionality you should have, right? Similar anyway. So I want a new page, right? When I put the new page in place, I add a new page title. This is the kind of form you're going to have to fill out. You have a form to fill out, right? And when you fill out the form, right? Let's say, for example, my new page title is my new page. Okay, I'm typing it in. And some kind of data. Here's my data from my page. Page content, which is kind of empty. Right? Okay, there we go. And publish, right? And when I'm done, and if it does its spinning properly, see it's spinning, it adds it to the database, and now I have a new page. Yay! How do I see this page? I go back to my main site. Here's my site. And now, right, I've got home, about, blog. Wait, where's my page? Well, you have to add it into your navigation in for WordPress, right? Here, notice that it's quite a nice little page. By the way, it's all got installed with the theme that I put in, WordPress 2017, the theme, right? And it's all customizable and, you know, editable. You can change all this stuff. And why is this so beautiful, right? Because for the average user, this is good, right? The average user, you can set up a page in 5 minutes and charge them $1,500, right? No problem. And what did it take for you? Access to a cloud service, right? Customizable graphics. You're going to put in some customizable graphics. Might take you maybe a day or two to make, yeah?
Like any user can just edit their page for like
Yes.
changing.
Yes. Yeah, it's just, that's why it's called a content management system. You can go in there and change your pages. I'm going to show you the page in a second. If I click customize for my theme, right? And if you notice on the left, I have menus and widgets and theme options and a bunch of other stuff. You know, I have my pages. I want to add into my navigation here, my page structure. Chances are there's going to be something. Here's my top menu that I can add in, right? My pages, and I can add in any other pages that I want. Add an item, right? Where I want to look at my pages or posts, right? As an example, if they happen to be here, here are my posts. If I have any posts here, I get a hello world post. And I got my categories. If I want to add categories in there, tags and formatting and everything else. And any kind of page, if I can find my page, I can add it into my top menu. Right? Neat little options that I have here. And I don't see my page anywhere, but probably because if I look at pages, and let me show you this page. So I go back to my dashboard for a second. So I'll click on this. And if I go back to my dashboard, and if I look at pages, and here's my new page, there it is, published 2 minutes ago. And if I look at edit, I can edit my page. So all the functionality that you see, some of the functionality you see here is available. Look, there's my link for my permalink for my page, right, that I can get to. All this is database driven, right? Here's my parent. I can choose if I want to put this on the, if it's no parent as an example, if it's a parent to my about page or my home page section, put that in there, update. There we go. And if I go out, and chances are I should be able to see it somewhere. This is me being, here's my homepage section. My about page, my blog, contacts, I'm sure it's somewhere in there. Yeah.
For our assignment, how many features do we want the admin to add? Is it just text and a title? Or
Yes,
do we want...
that's it. Text and a title. Please don't go crazy, right? I mean, if you inject text in a title, I'm okay, right? Text would be inside of some kind of div tag. If you want to add your custom div tags, though, like tags, you're just injecting HTML, right? At the end of the day, whatever HTML you put in there should be okay, right? Which is what pages are done. That didn't quite work. Let me go back to my dashboard for a second. I go back to my pages, and I think there's a place where I can change the appearance of my pages so that it doesn't. Say that again.
The first part you had earlier actually created the page.
Yeah.
Adding the link.
Yeah.
It was there. There was a link to add page.
I guess, right? But still, I should be able to connect it now, right? Even if I go to no page, if I go to under home or one of the pages that I have, that's also the parent page, right? But it should show it, is what I'm saying, and it doesn't. And there's some changes that they made. Now, this theme also is not navigation bar friendly in terms of the way it works. So if I go back to this as an example, under my home page, I should see like a drop-down menu that comes up, but it doesn't come up because I need to customize it and tell it that it does. And I can change my theme from 2017 to another theme. This is kind of neat too. Little dashboard. I don't expect this at all in any way. So I want to change to 2015. It'll show you a preview of what it looks like. This is a 2015 theme, right? Here's my menus. my menu locations, my social links menu, my top menu, right, with my navs, right? It's my custom links that I have here. Like you can literally do all kinds of changes, right, to my custom menu. I can add an item, and of course, it doesn't show me pages at all. Sorry, say that again. Oh, there it is. Yeah, sorry. There's my new page. I totally didn't even see that. And I can put that in. I can reorder. I can drag. I think I can drag this underneath my home page, make it like a sub page of the thing. I didn't see that. Sorry. It's because the way I named it. That's perfect. So I can save and activate. And what I can do is now I have a different theme for myself. And when I go back to my page, it looks like this. My theme has changed. And it took 2 seconds to change my theme. And if I look at my my links now, or my top nav, of course they don't exist because I've removed them. Yeah. But anyways, you get the gist. The gist is what I want you to get from this. Let me go back to that other theme, 2017. And let's go to menus, my top menu. That's still good. Save and activate. That should work actually now, because that's where it was, right here. Yeah, it does work. So here it is. So here's my menu. Here's my new page. And if I look at this, I should have my new page. Oops. There's my new page, and I should just see that page. My new page, it says page content, which is kind of empty. Notice that it keeps the style of my entire application, right? WordPress in a nutshell, right? I don't want you to make WordPress again, but I want you to understand what WordPress does, right? And how it does things. Everything is done inside tables. And for you to understand that, let's take a look at the structure behind WordPress for a second. So if I look at PHPMyAdmin, if I log in for a second, what WordPress has done is created a series of tables. So here's all the tables: posts and links and post media and metadata of all kinds of stuff here, user meta. Here's users. These are all the things, all the different tables inside the WordPress database, right? If I look to links, right? If I look at links, and if I want to see any kind of other link in here, right, I can create a new link or whatever. But where would my data be housed? And this is where you would look through to find out, right? Here's your post meta. Here's your posts. Let's take a look at posts, right? So welcome to WordPress. This is your first post. You can see what a post would look like, right? A post is just a different kind of page. So here's an example. I've got an ID for the page, the author, who made the page, post date, right? I have other content here, the title, and a bunch of other stuff, okay? Do I need you to take care of things like, is it a draft, or is it published, or any of that kind of stuff? No, I don't need you to do any of that stuff. When you create a page, it's instantly created. When you delete a page, it's gone, all right? That's all I want you to do. I want you to be able to add a page and subtract a page, right? So the pages really, if you think about it, are right in here. They're in a database somewhere, okay? And here's all the pages that are, or all the posts that are in the on the WordPress site here. Notice that my page, here's sample page. Well, my page, you see it anywhere? It's there somewhere, but it's not physically here. Let's take a look at, I don't know, 50. Just want to make sure that we have all the options so we can see this. So here's my new page. There it is. Look, my ID is 29, right? I also have another one for 30. 29 and 30 there's two links because one of them is inherit and the other one is publish. It's almost like there's a backup. That's what they do, right? So they make a prime and a backup. This is what I want you to do for your assignment number 2. I want you to create not this exact thing, but I want you to make a database or a list, if you will, which is just a table of pages with some information, some fields here, right? ID. If you want to include author, you can, but that would be the user ID. If you want to pass the user ID in here, you can. If you want to pass post dates or page when the page was created, you can. I don't need you to do that. And content is important. What kind of content you put in there, right? The title would also be something you want to put in, right? Like the title, content, basic things, okay? Now, there's a lot of information these pages have, tons and tons of them, yeah.
For the content, what would you save it as in
varchar, just a varchar and varchar 50 or varchar 100, oh no, probably 1024. As big as you can make it, varchar max, if you can do one of those,
Okay.
right? So whatever it can take, right? Because you don't know how big the content's going to be, right? You want your user.
If there's a special thing.
No, you want to have the user add in as much as he wants, right? In the content, it'd be like pages and pages. To make it nice, you could create sub pages too, right? If you really want to make sub navigation and all that stuff, but we're not going to even go there, right? I just want to talk about how to make basic pages right now. So I'm using an example. WordPress is a big example. It's a big site. I don't expect you to make this level of complexity, but you can see how much they've added in here. Post name, which is like a page name, and then the GUID, which is like a specific page name, right, that they use for that particular post. And they create this user ID or a unique ID basically for each page, right? So it can differentiate itself from other pages. Menu order, that might be something you want to think about, right? Why would you want to think about this? Because then you can order your links. Where do you want them on the menu? I only need you to make 5 pages max, all right? Why? If I made more than 5, it wouldn't fit on the nav bar with our current knowledge, okay? Not that you can't make it work, that you can't do sub navigation and all that stuff and drop down menus. If you can figure that out, all the power to you, right? But it needs to use PHP to figure out where to put that in and how to set up empty, drop down lists. Yeah.
So will you be able to just hit add new page and it'll make more than 5?
You should just add 5 max.
That's something you need, but
yeah.
If you hit the button again, it makes 6, right?
Yeah, but I would ask you to stop. So don't let them make any more than 5. Because if you made more than 5, then what's going to happen is, how are you going to handle more than 5 on the link, right? It may work, it may not fit, right? The drop-down menu would be the way to go, but that means you have to think about how to use drop-down menus to add unlimited number of pages. And then when would you make them? Would you actually hide them? Would you show them? Would they even have a link in the nav bar? You could assign them dynamically. These are all extra features we don't have time for in 2 weeks. Trust me, we don't have time. Whether you're working alone or working with a partner, it doesn't matter, right? Can you do all these things? Can we imagine these things? Absolutely. And that's what, something like WordPress does, right? But I don't expect any of this from you for 2 weeks from now. All I expect for you is, can you do the basics? Can you do what I've asked you to do? Can you make dynamic pages and store the page content in the database somewhere? That's all I'm asking for. When I say that's all I'm asking for, people are going to say, that's all? Yeah.
So you don't want us to, you want the button there, but you don't want us to work with the admin page, right? You're the admin.
If you're the admin, you can add a new page. You can delete a new page. You can delete a page.
5 pages that aren't completely, right?
You can make 5 pages you can get rid of. So you can have 0 or 5 if you want, 0 to 5, whatever range you want. So an example will be this. I go into my dashboard. Let's do it.
So if someone went to your website or you looked at it, you could all of
If they were registered as an admin user.
it. Yes. Okay.
Right. So they have to be registered as an admin user. You go in here, and now where you have new, go in here and create a page. Right. And I wouldn't be new. We just add new page. That's because you can't add posts. That's not a part of our website, right? So you had a page, and then the page, like we did before, let's add another one. So this is what it would be like. This is the workflow. Workflow looks like this. Add a new page. Here's my page title. Here's my data that I want to add in here. Notice that you can also look at it as HTML, right? Raw HTML. If you want to add HTML data in here, you can, right? And once you add it in, you might have a control to say your page order if you want. If you want, it's not recommended. It's not required, right? And any other page attributes you feel are necessary that you want to make so that you're displaying your page. And notice, even if I create my page here, I have to physically tell WordPress to add it into my menu. Yeah.
So are you going to be wanting an admin user and password then submitted with this, or you're just going to look at the code to make sure that it works?
You need an admin user and password, but I should be able to log in and register myself.
So then anyone can come in and log in.
Yes, but it's so for our example, it's okay. In reality, you would have to have verification, maybe an invitation, maybe you have a bare minimum user role, right? That kind of stuff where you can only, as a user, you can modify your own pages, but you can't delete pages, right?
And do you want anyone that has an account to be an admin, or do you want
Yes.
2 steps?
No, we haven't talked about that. Yeah.
Just one database then for all the page content as well?
One database for everything,
Yeah.
right? But you might have multiple tables, right? One table for the page content,
Yeah.
maybe one table for the user
Oh,
data,
that's what I
right?
meant. Like you don't
don't
Yeah.
want a different table for each user. You just want one table for all the users?
Yes.
Okay.
But you should probably associate the table with the user. So an example would be at a very simple level, without doing foreign keys, all you'd have to do is who's the username that's with this table. And if you're logged in with that username, you should be able to see the pages that you created, right? And delete the pages you created. But other users at the very high level, and I haven't asked for this, shouldn't be able to delete your pages if you were going to go there. For me, any user can add or delete any page. All right, for now, for this assignment too.
So
All right.
the tables don't need to actually be linked.
No.
other than-
No, please no. No, that would be another level of complexity. This is not a MySQL course. You guys are taking a MySQL course, no? Nothing to do with this thing. So it's just bare bones. Can I set it up on the thing? And then if you're smart enough and you've done MySQL, then you know how to link things together with foreign keys. You know how to relate a user to a user table, and then say, so I only want to see this user's data, right? Now for the final exam, I'm probably going to give you that as a bonus. Say, if you can make it so that you can link the two tables together and only see your stuff, but not their stuff, we're good, right? Things that we've done before. All right, so let's suppose I add a new page. We'll call it another new page. I don't know why I'm struggling here today. So here's another new page, and again, I'm going to go to customize. So I'm going to go back out to the site itself. I'm going to click customize. That's the easiest way to do it. There's other ways to do it too. And I'm going to change my menus, and I can look at my top menu as an example. And I want to add an item, and there's another. Notice that I don't see another home page. See that link? My new page is there. Here it is, right? But if I scroll down, I should see another page. My other. What was that? Yes. Of course. I'm rushing and I'm not concentrating. So let me go back and do that again. That's true, because in WordPress you have to publish the page. So if I go to pages, I go another new page. Notice it's in draft format, right? I want to publish it. So let's do an edit. And I want to go from just click the publish button. Now it's published. And now if I go out here, I should be able to see the page when I click customize. And if I go to menus, you can see how nice this is. Like there's, another new page. There it is. And I want to take this other new page and put it underneath the home page too. Why not? Actually, you know what? We'll put it under the contact page to make it look a little different. There we go. You can see how customizable it is and how easy it is for you to, look at this page, right? And you notice I can also edit the page in line. So I can add some information right in here, and I can do an update, like something like, here is the content of the new page. And I can also, because I'm in HTML view, I can actually add in an H1 tag, right? Which you guys should be able to do too, because it's just injecting HTML content, right? Yep. But it may not. See, in here, they're actually looking for H1s, right? I can put these in, but they'll be stripped. These tags will be stripped because that's what HTML, that's what they do to protect themselves. If I click update, and you can see if I go back to my page, if I want to view my page, I can click on view page, and then here's content. Make sense? So WordPress, to recap, just to give you, I gave you WordPress as an example, right, of what the page looks like, what the content looks like when we surf through, right? And it's actually quite robust. It's got a really cool log in, log out. And if I want to log in as an admin, let's just log out here. So I'm going to log out. See if I might be able to remember my login. This is what it looks like, right? So you get this little login page from WordPress. You can customize the logo that comes in here if you really want to. There's different plugins. There's 1,000 plugins for WordPress to do everything from, you couldn't possibly believe, everything you want, right? You want to put a little game in WordPress, you can do that too, right? I mean, there's anything you want. But let's suppose I don't log in and I want to see the WordPress page by itself. I can log in as a user now. This is what it would look like, right? Now, even though it detects who I am, right? And if I log out, right, it always detects who I am. But what if I just go there with incognito mode? Let's try this out. I'm going to show you how it looks like as a person who doesn't see that, right? So I'm going to go to localhost, and I want to see WordPress. COMP1006. and I want to go to WordPress, just WordPress by itself. Now, WordPress wouldn't be the site in real life. It'd be something else, right? But this is what I would see, right? This is like what my home page would look like. Again, a little bit different. You can see that there's a background that changes, you know, and you know, from a very simple site, you can get, you know, quite a bit of functionality out of it, right? For 2 seconds of work with no programming experience whatsoever. The people who use CMSs are non-programmers, all right? They're non-HTML people. They just know how to modify content. I want to put an image on my page. They learn how to use WordPress to put images on the page, and they're done. So a user can actually do some small modifications to the page content on their own, right? You won't have to do that. I just want you to make dynamic content, like make a dynamic page, add some content, edit the page if you're an admin user, delete the page. You know, so you're doing full CRUD with this page that's going to be on in a page table. Are you guys clear with that? Okay. All right, enough about WordPress. We talked about WordPress only as an example, right? Let's get back to this before we stop for a break. So I wanted to look at my site content again. So again, notice that in my index.php, right? My index.php here, it does some navigation based on which page you want to go to. So if I get I have the about link, then the title is about, and my template string is views content about.php, right? And I'm always basing it off the top level page. So I don't have to do that weird other navigation that I was using before, right? So one thing we haven't done, move file. One thing we haven't done is we haven't moved over our users, here's our users, pages and functionality into their own controllers and views. So we can certainly do that today, just to split it up. But I also want to talk about the way the controllers are set up. Right now, the controller is only one, games.php. And the games.php is a bunch of functions, right? When it gets included in the pages, right, you have access to these functions. That's what happens. So in my index.php, take a look. The first part is this routing table, right? And then down here at the bottom, this is where I actually inject my header, my nav bar, and the content. So my content gets injected here. So content, oh, I can't do that. Content, actually, maybe I can. No, because this is a PHP page or HTML page. Content, right? That's what this is. This is the content. This is my header. This is the nav bar. This is my footer, right? So all my page content gets injected at this point, line 63, right? But all of them have a header, a nav bar, and a footer, right? And depending on which page I've selected, you're going to get the, you know, kind of the information that you need. My recommendation is you dissect this. Take a look at this, what I've given you, so you understand it, right? Because if you use this code base, and you may not want to. By the way, if you want to start from scratch, it might be better for you. It might be better because, for a couple of reasons, if you have the time, I don't know if you have the time to balance this off. You might have a lot going on right now. But if you start from scratch and you start building up, use my as an example, you might be able to build it up on your own and understand even more. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be better to put header and nav bar above the switch, because then it's authenticated with the
No, 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 absolutely not. Remember what's happening with the switch, right? The switch, this part here with the page ID, right? You want to switch which page ID, and so you have the variable names you need, right? Your title, you need to know your title, and you need to know your template string before you come to here, right? Before all this stuff happens. Yeah.
Right now we can just type into the URL the page ID.
Yeah.
We'll be able to delete everything and add without being logged in.
Well, right now, but you mean my dashboard? My dashboard should be secure. Is that what you're talking about?
I'm saying that everything should be secure.
Well, you can't secure everything, right? You need to make some sites, some parts of your site have to be accessible. For example, I need to be able to get a login and log out. Those can't be secure pages, right?
Yeah, but for example, add game or task or whatever.
Yeah, that should be all secure, and it is, right? So if you actually look at it, if I wanted to go and look at my site for a second, this little site we've been playing with anyway, and if I look at my local host for a second, right? So here's my local host. And if I go into COMP1006 and hit week 11, which I believe is this one, then you can see that I get my dashboard right away, right? But even in my dashboard, I'm not showing my games list until I log in.
If we go to index.php,
Sure.
question mark,
Yeah.
page ID equals,
Page ID
so add a-
equals to what?
like game list or whatever.
Sure. Game list. Sure. Game list. Okay. And then press enter. Oops. I want to know what it is. Let's log in and do that. So log in. And doesn't matter even if you do. Watch. So if I log in and if I click on games list, I'll see it. Here's my games list, right? And there's the games. This is the link. So you're saying take that link and go to that link, right?
Yeah, with game
Okay, now I'll log out. Now I logged out and I put that link in there. Let's try it out. And so, oops. Let's try that again. Sorry. Let me grab that link one more time. Sorry. So there's the link. Copy. Log out. And go in here and paste. There it is. There's the games list, right? And press enter. I should see my games list, right? Yeah, don't worry, man. Don't you worry about a tang, Batman. I covered that a long time ago, right? The way I did it is I said, if you go to that link in the page itself, now it's not buried, it's there actually, right? So if you go to games list, right? I want to see my list.php, games list.php. So if I go to games, so inside my views, if I go to games, and if I go to list.php, right? Notice the top what it says is authenticated. It checks. If you're not authenticated, it reroutes you back to login. So at the top of every page, any page you want to secure, using my code base, put this line in, include once. Users is authenticated. If you do that, and if you want to check that out, if you go to users, and if you go to is authenticated, this little piece right here, it basically says, hey, check to see if he's logged in. If not, relocate him back to the login page. That's what it does, right? That's what we covered last time, and the time before, and the time before. All right, it's been there for a while. All right, so that will stop you. It won't allow you to log in, even if you want to. Now we have a problem with our, clear text password, right? That's a whole other thing, right? That we can go in here. And I want to show a video actually to break it up a little bit. And there is some really cool resources online with lynda.com. I found one. And for those people who don't have access, that's okay. I have access as a subscriber, and I'm going to show you what it is. You can get access with your library card, most places in Ontario, for anything, any kind of access. And there's tons of resources on lynda.com. Now, I can't record this because I'd be recording a recording, right? Which would be bad for my YouTube thing. They would kick me off, right? So I'm not going to do that. But I will show you a video. For those people who aren't here in class, I do apologize. All right. So let me log off. Let me stop this recording.